Alrighty, folks, back again with a new release review. We have the Led Zeppelin live EP. There's your back right there. I think that's me. I hate these light colored digipacks. I don't even know what that is. I hate these little plastic sleeves too. They always get wrinkled up in here. Here's your hype sticker, Led Zeppelin live EP, 4 live recordings on CD for the very first time, remastered and produced by Jimmy Page. So yeah, these 4 songs are all from the Led Zeppelin DVD. That's what it's called, Led Zeppelin DVD. The first 2, In My Time of Dying and Trampled Underfoot, are live from Earl's Court, 1975. On that DVD, there's like 6 tracks from Earl's Court on there. And then Sick Again and Kashmir are from live from Nebworth, 1979. I think there may be 8 tracks on that DVD from that one. So yeah, when I heard this was coming out, I really didn't even pay attention to it. I'm like, Led Zeppelin EP, okay. I was like, I got The Song Remains the Same. I have How the West Was Won. I have BBC Sessions. I got a couple of bootlegs. I'm like, I mean, I didn't even pay. I saw the cover and I didn't even pay any attention to it, that it was the Windows from Physical Graffiti on there, which happens to be my favorite album of all time. So when I found out the 4 songs on there, that they were all from Physical Graffiti, that piqued my interest. Yeah, see, I hate these little plastic sleeves. They don't go in one way, then the other way, the CD keeps falling out. And then they reviewed this on Sea of Tranquility, and they start talking about it, and they say, oh, In My Time of Dying. And I'm like, oh my God. My favorite song off of my favorite album. So already I'm getting sucked in, and they mentioned Trampled Underfoot. I'm like, oh man. And they're talking about how good it is and how good it sounds. And they did mention that it was all previously released material, but man, I couldn't. After hearing In My Time of Dying and Trampled Underfoot, Sick Again were on here, I was like, oh man. So I went and got it. And I don't know what the motivation is behind releasing it. They kind of speculated too. It's like maybe, because the Earl's Court 1975, they played there like over the course of like 8 days. They played like 5 shows. And then at Nebworth, over the course of a week, they played 2 shows. So is this a teaser from Jimmy Page that they're going to be releasing those or portions of those concerts, releasing them as full CDs or LPs or whatever? Because like I said, right now they're just found on that live DVD, Led Zeppelin DVD. There is some of the songs that are on the compilation Mothership. It's like a 2 CD set and a DVD, and they took like half of the tracks from the Led Zeppelin DVD and put them on a DVD on that one. So I don't know, but I couldn't resist. It would maybe Page is putting this as a feeler out there to see if there's any interest in it. I mean, it's Led Zeppelin. I don't know why you would need a feeler to see if there's any interest. Of course, people are going to buy it if you release the whole thing. It would be kind of crappy if they release this and then a month later they release the full concert CDs. But I'll have no one but to blame for myself. Here's the inside. Pretty sparse packaging. Says Robert Plant, vocals and harmonica. No harmonica. Jimmy Page, electric and acoustic guitars. John Paul Jones, bass guitar, keyboards, and mandolin. No mandolin. John Bonham, drums and percussion. Music produced by Jimmy Page. Sound engineer Kevin Shirley. Remastered by Jimmy Page and Felix Davis at Metropolis Studios. All songs originally released on Led Zeppelin DVD. Sleeve designed by Studio Fury. How much money do you get to design this? Anyway, so the first track, you get 11 and a half minutes, In My Time of Dying. It lives up to the hype. Page is just blistering the whole song, slide guitar. I mean, Bonzo, one of the reasons In My Time of Dying is my favorite track on Physical Graffiti is the drumming on it. And man, he's just going to town this whole track. Plant's wailing his way through the whole track. Just a killer live version. Trampled Underfoot, 9-minute version of this one. Again, everyone's at the top of their game. These are both tracks from Earl's Court, 1975. Led Zeppelin probably at their peak, in my opinion. Then you get the breakdown in there, and John Paul Jones comes in on his clavinet, and how he mimics an organ and a bass with that clavinet. Page, again, on fire, just blistering his way through his guitar. And Bonham, I mean, like the last 5 minutes of the track is just Page and Bonham, and then John Paul Jones and clavinet. They're just all tearing it up. And you even get and of course, Plant's emoting his way back through with some wails and stuff. He even throws in a couple of lines from Gallows Pole in there. Sick Again, 5-minute version of this one. Plant's still giving a gritty performance here, but you can tell that he is using that in through the outdoor voice. I don't know. Maybe it's a more commercial sounding voice. I mean, he's still got some grit in there, but you can definitely tell. If you were listening to these tracks and you didn't know what they were from, you could definitely tell that they were recorded in different eras. Of course, Bonham was just going to town again. I mean, he's just loading up Sick Again with drum fills left and right. And then Kashmir, he's still using that in through the outdoor voice. I don't think it works that well on Kashmir for the most part until they start getting into the song, and then he starts letting those wails loose. John Paul Jones's Mellotron sounds huge. Just really makes the song sound even bigger. And Bonzo, Jimmy Page is almost buried behind John Paul Jones's Mellotron and Bonzo's drumming. But, the song does finish with a massive crescendo. So you will have to decide how big of a Led Zeppelin fan you are, whether you need this or not, whether you can hold out to see if they're going to release full CDs of these shows. I could not. I broke down. I tried to pretend like I was holding out, but as soon as I heard that In My Time of Dying was on here, I knew I was going to get it. I was just lying to myself. Normally I don't score EPs very high just because they are EPs, and especially when they're EPs of material that you can find somewhere else. But this is Led Zeppelin. This is 4 tracks from my favorite album of all time, and I mean the band's on fire. The recording sounds awesome. It's remixed really well. It sounds really good. So I'm gonna have to break my normal cardinal rule and give this a 9.5 out of 10. I'm gonna deduct half a point for this being previously found material on a Led Zeppelin DVD, but it is killer. And if you're a Led Zeppelin fan and can't hold out, it's definitely worth getting. Alrighty, you guys have a good one.